Ha ha! Hey, what is going on, crypto people? What the world is going on right now? The market is crashing. Everything is crashing. We're going to tell you why. We're going to tell you why. Listen, the everything bubble is looming, and the freaking chances of a recession has increased kind of dramatically. Goldman Sachs is saying a 25% chance. We're going to hear from some people that can help explain some stuff. We'll go over some stuff from Crypto X. We'll hear from my guy, Alessa Rastani. And we're going to take a listen to Tom Lee, see what he thinks about all this market crashing the way that it has. Did you get some BTC today? Did you grab some? I snatched some at 50,000. Had to change my plans today. Change them a little bit. I had to go live and kind of share this market crashing. But yeah, we got some BTC like at 50,000, 170, something like that. And then, I mean, my God, just doing a little bit of research and preparing for the live stream. Next, according to CoinGecko, Bitcoin is 54,000. Why is it that Coinbase has a different price for Bitcoin? Don't like that. It's different than CoinGecko. That's a little alarming. We'll go over that together. I'm going to look at the prices on Kraken Exchange and see what's going on there. Don't like that. Do not like that. Do not like that. I may move my Bitcoin from Coinbase because they use Lightning, so it's very inexpensive to move it. I may move it over to the Kraken Exchange. That might be the move. We'll get into that. But boy, these markets are crashing. It's something. It's madness in the streets. I'm not even going to mention or get into the fact that there is public protests throughout the world, nation over nation, of the nation after nation, with these public protests. It's what's going on? UK, Bangladesh. Why are the people running to the streets at alarming numbers? At alarming numbers, people are going to the streets and rioting. What's going on with that? It used to be, US and cities over some stupid court case taken to the streets. But my gosh, what's going on? Reaper 76. What's going on? Yeah, brutal day for sure. It's interesting. It is very, very, very interesting. We're going to go over a post from an XRP entertaining content creator. I'm going to go over this post and I'll tell you what I feel about the post. You guys can decide for yourself. I don't know. I just think it's just not needed in this space. But we'll get into that as well. Keyless is here. The Lady of Crypto is in the building. How are you, man? Appreciate you checking in this morning. We'll go over why the markets are crashing the way that we are. Simon Dixon has some thoughts. Raul Paul has some thoughts on it as well. We're going to listen to Tom Lee. We're going to listen to a little bit of Alessa Rastani and what he says for sure. And then we'll get over into some stuff on X. By the way, I was just listening to Bankless this morning and talking, watching an interview talking about our constitutional Bill of rights, constitutional rights to own and have crypto, not just to own it and have it, to encrypt, the right to and for encryption. Interesting. Interesting stuff. We'll get into that as well. We'll get into that as well. Interesting time to be an early adopter in this new asset class. That is the digital asset space. Holy moly. What's up with the different prices and the price of Bitcoin on these on the brokerage and exchange? What's going on with that? I don't like that. I mean, I was feeling kind of good. 50,100 or so Bitcoin get in. I see it at 54,000 on CoinGecko. And Coinbase has it for 53,000? What's going on with that? That's an interesting stuff. So we'll get into some stuff. Listen to Tom Lee. I think, where's Tom Lee from Fundstrat or something like that? We'll listen to him as well as to why this market is just crashing. All the markets. We covered it last night on the stream. We covered the jump trading, and I think we might have covered the Japanese yen last night as well. But I wanted to do like this little emergency broadcast. All freaking things considered. All things considered. So let's get into some. Let's go over CoinGecko and go over the market real quick. I am going to check and see if Kraken, if you don't mind, I'm going to check Kraken and see what they have for numbers on BTC. All right, so let's go to CoinGecko here and let's refresh this. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in. That would be super, super cool. Oh, man, Solana is at $129. Good night. Good night. Refresh this CoinGecko, make sure it's up to date. Interesting the way this market is doing what it does. It's just interesting. All right. All right, let's share this. Go over these numbers real quick. That's a significant drop. I mean, is the total cryptocurrency even 2 trillion? No. No, Siege. Not according to CoinGecko. All right, listen. The total cryptocurrency market cap, according to CoinGecko, is down 11.5% in 24 hours. 24 hours. Me and Miss Crypto Steve was just talking about how volatile Bitcoin was when we were doing it from 65 to 60. Oh my gosh. Crazy in them streets, Keyless. It's crazy in them streets. So the total cryptocurrency market cap, according to CoinGecko, is 1.99 trillion. Under 2 trillion. Bitcoin dominance 53.7%. It's probably 54.7%. Accurately. Bitcoin is trading at $54,114 according to CoinGecko. Get your stuff together. Get your stuff together, Coinbase. Get your freaking crap together, man. I was gonna go in the stables, just take my little $30 win. I was gonna take that $30 win. I mean, I was gonna take it. That was like 4% in like in like an hour. I was gonna take it, and I still might. I might, because it costs like less than $1 to move it off of Coinbase. Yeah, it takes like less than $1. Unfreaking believable what they did. Unbelievable. Anyway, Bitcoin is trading at $54,349 according to CoinGecko. On the 30 days, down 5.5%. Ethereum is trading at $2,419. On the 30-day, it's down 20%. Solana is at $130 currently, and on the 30-day, down 8.1%. XRP is at 48 cents. It was just at 44 cents. It's at 48 cents. And on a 30-day, XRP is up 10.2%. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign in the Kraken. We're gonna figure some stuff out here, and then we're going to listen to our guy Tom Lee. Listen to our guy Tom Lee and see what he thinks is going on right now in the streets. It's crazy. It's cray. And by the way, Tom Lee is a dude who gets it right about 85, 95%, 85 to 90% of the time. Don't know how he does that, but he does. I want to see what Kraken says is the price. What do they have as a price for BTC? I want to see. Because that's not great, Keyless. Trying to rob me of my gains. It cost me $7 just to make a little $400 purchase. And I only did it on Coinbase because of how inexpensive it is to move it. Because they're in the Lightning thing. You know what I mean? They got Lightning hooked up. And last time I moved a few $100 worth, it was like 86 cents to move it. I was like, what the world? All right, let's see what the Kraken has for BTC. Yeah, see, it's got $54,575. I'm not selling it on freaking I'm not moving it into stables on freaking Coinbase. You can forget it. I'll pay 80 something cents. Yeah. The world. What the world? All right. All right. Let's go look at Tom Lee. What do you think about that? Reaper 76? Big time difference there. I mean, I know there's spreads, but my land. Shouldn't the price be the same? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, so let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Tom Lee. Let's find Tom Lee. Make sure I find him. There he is. All right. Let's go from the beginning. Now, this is a little bit, but it's worth taking a listen to, Keyless. Let me welcome some people to the stream just in case. All right, XRP Magnificent is in the building. How are you, bro? Good morning, sir. Stuck this storm in Florida. Oh, stuck in this storm in Florida. Be careful out there, bro. Isn't so sunny here today. Be careful out there, brother. Tim P. What's going on, Tim P? I don't think I remember you checking into the channel. What's going on? Where are you checking in from, Tim P? I think I'm just weird, but I love to see the markets like this buying. I hear you. I made my BTC purchase. Alex G's like, dang, Wind Moon. They're testing our resolve, my friend. They are testing our resolve for sure. What's going on, the Muskegon Aristocrat? Appreciate you guys checking in this morning. Keela says, bear with me, guys. I'm working while listening in. Siege, if I don't respond, LOL. All right, miss. We got you. Be careful. Be careful out there. What's going on? Looking good, doing it? How are you, my friend? Appreciate you checking in. All right, let's take a listen to Tom Lee. He's going to help us try to understand what's going on right now with the market and what he sees in the future, in the near future. How do you explain this, Tom? All right, let's take a listen.
Head of research at Fundstrat Global Advisors, as well as a CNBC contributor. In times like this in the past, it always would help to know, Tom, whether it's a sharp, scary spike down, which a lot of times the other side looks just like it, or people are hoping for that so much that they don't see that it might have longer to go. Do you get the feeling that this is not going to be a major sell-off?
For now, I think it is the former that you described. You know, we have over 3 days, suddenly markets reverse and, you know, Japan down over 20%. And as you're pointing out, the NASDAQ could even, you know, decline further. Declines like that are generally symmetric, but you have to watch the VIX. And when the VIX peaks and starts to roll over and fall down, the recovery can be just as quick. I think a lot of this depends on whether financial conditions in the US start to tighten, you know, meaning like, do markets seize up? But with interest rates falling, you know, the consumer's still in pretty good shape. I think on the other side of this, it'll look like a growth scare, but it doesn't mean that
it's a growth scare.
Yes.
Kind of interesting that it almost looks like the market's doing what the Fed didn't do again. It's almost like once again they're there, but not really ahead of what's happening, and they're reacting, not anticipating, kind of again.
Yeah,
on the way up and on the way down.
Yeah, the 2 years is signaling that the Fed is behind, because 2-year yields have fallen further. But it does seem like, as we look back a lot more, this is because of the surprise hike from Japan and the sort of knock-on effects from there. If that is the primary source of the reaction, I know it's going to be tumultuous for markets, but for the U.S. economy, it's not necessarily bad news. And I think that's why we can balance.
Some of your great and accurate calls have been based on inflation coming in, like you thought, much cooler than the market was thinking at the time. I guess the flip side of that is that there can be the dual mandate, there can be labor market weakness associated with why that's happening. Was the asymmetric?
Oh, look at that. They got XRP on it. They got XRP on there when it's down. Interesting. They show Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. I always find it fascinating. They really never mention BNB. They never really share BNB. Isn't it interesting? In any case, they're showing it there. It's showing XRP here. Isn't that interesting? So that's Tom Lee's perspective. He says it's a growth shock, right? It's a growth shock. So a growth scare. That's coming from Tom Lee. All right. What do you guys think about that? I'm going to listen to Alessio Rostani as well. Cincinnati. Oh, Cincinnati. All right, Tim. Welcome to the channel, brother. Anybody else checked in? All right. All right. So let's take a listen to guys, do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in. That'd be super, super cool. We always like to have just as many likes as we got viewers in the stream. That would be super awesome. If you guys could do that, that would be really, 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 really cool. And it helps to get the channel out to more people. We need more of us in this space. We need more of the average Joe and Jane in this space. And by hitting the like button is a way to share the channel out with more people so they can discover this new financial asset class that they can participate in without having to be an accredited investor for the most part, without having to, have some type of nepotism society going on where they would be able to or not be able to participate. So you can do that by hitting that like button. That's the greatest way to get the channel out to more people for sure. Let's take a listen to Alessio Rostani. This was a really, really good. I mean, I've only been listening to it for like 11 minutes, but boy, did the Cardone boys go through some stuff. Goodness gracious. All right. I listened to a little bit of Alessio. Let's see if I can't find him here. Here it is. We'll see what he says. He's usually pretty quick and to the point, makes a lot of sense, makes a lot of good calls in my view. Let's take a listen. I don't know how much of this we're going to listen to.
That's all correction and drop. Hi, this is Leslie. Hope you're well. Wow, what a start to a week. As I'm sure you're probably aware, the markets are down quite considerably. And in fact, as I'm sure you're also aware, for some weeks now, I've been warning of a potentially big drop in the stock market and likely increasing risks of a volatile correction and drop in the markets. And by the way, I repeated these warnings even as the market was rallying higher here. By the way, many people ignored these warnings. I'll talk about this in a few minutes. But so far, we've had quite a volatile drop. As I'm making this video, by the way, the markets have already taken out. The S&P has already taken out the lows it made back in June. There's a 24-hour S&P chart. And yeah, it doesn't look good right now for the stock market. So we'll dig into this chart, and I'm going to explain to you what this particular chart over here means, and this data, and also this chart over here, and what this potentially could mean for the market. And we'll also talk about this chart over here as well, what this potentially means. All right, guys, join.
Dumb money sentiment. What's up with that? Dumb money sentiment. Let me do this too.
All right, guys, welcome back. As I'm sure you're aware, the stock market has wiped out weeks of gains.
Hold on, let me do this real quick. Let me do this real quick. Is it 2 L's or 1 L? Yeah. It's not hours. Make sure I do that. Make sure I save it. All right, let's get back.
So it comes as no surprise to you, I'm sure, because if you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I've been warning about this for some time. So you can see this big drop here in the S&P has essentially wiped out all these gains, predominantly all these gains that were made here that people were jumping into. By the way, despite all the warnings that I gave in my videos, and I repeated these warnings, it doesn't matter, guys, because people were jumping in, buying into the stock market, buying into Nvidia, buying into Tesla, buying into all kinds of stocks out there at the worst possible time, despite all the warnings that we kept saying in our videos. Now, I know you're intelligent and sophisticated people, and I know you were listening to my warnings, but let me just say this. there are many people out there who were not paying attention to any of the warning signs and the repeated points that risk was increasing in the market. Now, I'll show you those charts in a few minutes. But let me say this, some of the comments I was getting, and I'll put the comments for you so you can see it. Some of the comments were, they're getting all in the market. Some people were saying that they were buying into the market. Some people were saying, no, the S&P is going to keep going to 6,000, 7,000, so on and so on. Well, where are those people now, I wonder? Well, they're underwater because they did not pay attention to any of the warning signs I gave. Let me just show you this. By the way, I know some of you say, hey, Alessio, why do you keep going back to your previous videos and mentioning what you said back in your previous videos? The reason why I repeat something in my previous videos is we can learn something from the market because it was giving us early warnings that are repeated many times. For example, this is a screenshot of my video back from the 14th of July. And if you recall from that members video on the 14th of July, here's what I said about the extreme overbought conditions on the RSI. So let me play for you very briefly what I said back on the 14th of July in the members video. We'll come back. And this happens very rarely when you see an RSI on the S&P getting above 34. In the past, usually when this occurs, the odds increase of a pullback, some kind of a correction or a significant correction. If we start breaking down below support, like breaking down below this regression channel near 5,550, that would be the first red flag. And then if we start breaking down, especially we start breaking down below 5,446, then the odds increase even further that we're likely topping here and we can start a major correction and drop. And once we get a confirmation of a drop below 5,446, this support, then indeed, yes, we could then see a significant drop. Once we get a breakdown below this, then we could see a significant drop down into 5,327 and 5,261. These levels of support and potentially even lower. Yes. All right, guys. So as you heard in that members video on the 14th of July, and in fact, let me show you. This is the regression channel on the chart, the S&P, and we can see we broke down below that regression channel about 5,550 approximately, and yet that increased risk significantly. By the way, it also took out the 5,446 level here as well. So guys, we've been expecting this drop. This came as no surprise. If you've been watching my videos from the previous times, then it should come as no surprise to you. Very beautiful drop so far. And I think we're beginning to see the signs of panic set in finally, because we haven't seen that much panic just yet. You might be surprised at that. Let me show you this also. Now, I mentioned this in the member video on Sunday, just yesterday. And if you haven't seen that, go ahead and watch it. But at the time, yesterday, we were resting on the 21 weekly moving average. And I mentioned this warning in yesterday's video. By the way, this magenta dashed line right about there, that's the 100% projection of the decline we had in 2023. So from the summer of 2023 to the lows we made here in October last year, if we do 100% projection of that from the high we made here, that gives us this magenta line. So that would be a 100% projection of that at 5,166. So if the market keeps pushing lower, that's the next level that might get tested. In other words, if 5,264 does not hold the market, that could be the next level of support. 5,166 near that 34 EMA on the weekly time frame chart. All right, guys, thank you for watching that. So what I was essentially saying was, by the way, in a few minutes, I'll discuss this stochastic RSI here as well. But before we talk about that, let me show you, based on the 24-hour S&P, let me just show you that. Let's go on that. There it is. So as you can see for yourself, based on a 24-hour S&P chart, and by the way, when the S&P actually opens, when the S&P cash opens, you'll see it'll be very near this level, the 34 weekly moving average. So we've now broken down below the 21 EMA, and as anticipated, we've now come down to the 34 EMA. Okay, so this is another important support, again, symmetrical projection. Now, before we continue, I've got some important charts I want to show you in a few minutes. Let me just address a very important point. Some of you said to me, well, Alessio, your warning came a bit early. So the market continued to push a bit further higher after I gave my initial warning. But guys, as I'm sure you're aware, and I think if you're experienced in analysis and in trading, then I think you'll know this. You don't actually need to know the exact high, the top, in order to protect yourself against risk. Let me show you this chart. It seems to me there's some people out there. Again, these are usually probably inexperienced people in trading and analysis. Some of them are trolls. But essentially, guys, there's some people out there who mistakenly think that you have to know the exact top and the exact bottom of the market. In fact, I think these guys believe that the job of an analyst is to get the exact top and the exact bottom. Guys, let me ask you this question. Do you think it's necessary for an analyst or trader to know the exact top or to give you the exact top and the exact bottom in the market? No, absolutely not. As I'm sure you know, the job of a good analyst, is to be an alert when risks start to increase significantly. All right, guys? So sometimes you're not going to get the exact top. That's not the point. And sometimes you're not going to get the exact bottom. Let me say this, guys. The only way somebody can get the exact bottom and the exact top is by sheer luck. All right, guys? And that is not even necessary. So please.
So anyway, let me link this. I'm going to copy this here and give you guys a chance to listen to this full thing if you want to do that. For sure. I enjoy listening to him because I think he just has a nice, well-rounded perspective of what's going on in the market. Shout out to Alessio. XRP Magnificent. What do you think about Proppy coin? You talking about the real estate coin? Are you talking about the real estate coin, XRP Magnificent? So, not much. Not much. Don't think much about that. Keela says that's ridiculous if anyone thinks that someone could give that kind of accurate prediction unless they are BlackRock and manipulated the market, even they won't be exact. Yep, that's exactly right. And I like Alessio because I think he just has a nice, well-rounded perspective. He's not a maxi of any particular crypto. He's not a maxi of any particular market. He's just in this game to gain, right? He's in the game he's in this game to win. And you know, a lot of his stuff he puts out on the members, and he'll usually do the members stuff generally 24 hours to 48 hours, sometimes 72 hours before he'll do it for you know, the non-paying community. So I respect it, and I appreciate him as a perspective. And I'll listen to Data Dash later on today, or if not tomorrow as well, to gain his perspective. What's going on, Legendary? How are you, my friend? How are you? XRP Magnificent, how is Proppy doing in the RWA play? Are they in the top 5 RWAs? How are they doing? Do you know? Oh man, I miss Jungle coming in. What's going on, Jungle? Are we having fun yet? I see Keyless here says Legendary and Jungle, and I'm like, I didn't even say Jungle. Yeah, so interesting stuff. That's kind of my guy there. I like going to Alessio for kind of a well-rounded perspective on all the markets because he's not biased. He doesn't have a bias. He's a very, 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 very professional trader. He does not have biases. He doesn't have he's not a crypto bro. He doesn't have a NASDAQ bias, an S&P 500 bias, commodity, doesn't have it. He's just a trader, professional trader who does this thing. And so I really, really respect that. Really, really respect that. And I'm going to listen to the Data Dash, who is more of, I don't want to say alarmist. He is big time into not taking any, not taking risks. So I'm going to listen to his perspective as well. What's going on, Hydro? Michael Marchese is in the building. Good to hear from you, my friend. All right, so let's go to some of the crypto X. I shared Tom Lee with you guys to get his perspective. He's calling it a growth scare. I was able to get Bitcoin at 50,000, 100 and something dollars this morning. I snatched just not much, just a few $100 worth, just to get some at those prices. And boy, actually, according to CoinGecko and Kraken, it's over 54,000. And for some odd, strange reason, Coinbase has got it at 53. So I won't be going into dollars there on Coinbase. What I'll do is I'll probably withdraw Coinbase, put it on Kraken, and then look to go into dollars there just to take advantage of that. Hydro says is buying the FLR dip. Well, is the FLR dip below a penny? Are we below a penny, Hydro? XRP Magnificent on the Proppy RWA play says, not sure. I see the real estate industry is what people get into for a hard asset to have. Yep, indeed. And Proppy's been around for a minute. It's been around, that token has been around for a minute for sure. Is it an Ethereum thing? Bubba Smith says UK thing for what I've seen online. People looting and going after phone. Yeah, it's craziness over there, my friend. It's craziness over there. I mentioned that in the beginning of the stream, Bubba. You know, the people rioting in the streets, taking to the streets for me, that's a signal for sure. That is a signal. Hold on a second. I don't know why Miss Crypto Siege did that, but she did. Hold on. So that's a definite signal for sure. What do we got? Flare, it's at Flare tokens at 0147. Interesting. Yeah, I put all my dirty, nasty fiat into the BTC thing. So yeah, that's a signal for me that, you know, why people get into the streets and these alarming numbers in different nations heading to the streets is interesting. Very, very interesting. All right, so let's go over some of the stuff on Crypto X that I wanted to share with you guys. Let's take a listen to what Raoul Pal says. Not listen, we'll go over what Raoul Pal has to say about this. The Black Swan Capitalist again, I don't know, just an alarming post about XRP and the Federal Reserve System. I'm trying to make sense of that, why the constant wanting to lean into this narrative with XRP, why the constant need to want to do it. All right, let's listen. Let's go over Raoul Pal's post. He says, thinking out loud, this is a few hours ago. I saw it this morning. Slot. Well, that's going to solve the issue of the global central banks having to refi their debts at high rates. Thinking out loud, he says, my guess is that rates over time come down to 2.5%. Next up, however, they will need large amounts of liquidity to monetize the previous cycle interest payments to roll it over. That will come in due course. More cowbell. Liquidity. The biggest game is playing out and markets are caught in the middle for now. We might even have war to add to the list of reasons to inject liquidity. But that comes with yet more uncertainty, FUD, and volatility. These macro spasms tend to be rather nasty, but relatively short-lived, much like the taper tantrum in 2018, or the China-EU slowdown fear and sharp dollar reversal of 2016, which is similar to now. But they can last a few weeks. Both of these prior episodes saw mass liquidation of assets as everything goes to a correlation of 1, which soon reversed as the liquidity cycle kicked in. This is what Tom Lee was saying. He says that it happens fast, but it also can reverse fast as well. He referenced the VIX when talking about it. Bears love them. Long-term bulls love them. But those on a shorter time horizon or with less conviction get really sideswiped, shaken up by them. Mass anxiety over X doesn't help as FUD grips the main narrative. Macro setups like this come from time to time. The question you need to ask yourself is whether anything has changed in the business cycle. If you haven't read his thing on the business cycle or watched his video on it, I highly recommend you do it. Really, really good. If we were at the point where the ISM was turning down after a cycle peak, then this could usher in something more protracted. But we are at the bottom of the business cycle with a massive easing of financial conditions in place. accelerated by the dollar decline that is just starting and by the rate decline. And forward-looking indicators are showing signs of a good recovery ahead. Thus, the probabilistic outcome is that this is just a nasty flush out. Therefore, using my everything code framework, which is all about the cycle and not about the wiggles, I'd be strongly biased towards using this reset as a very good opportunity to add to trades ahead of the liquidity spigot's opening. That's what I did, whenever that is, but likely within 4 weeks. Likely within 4 weeks. It's not so bad. You know, August historically has been not a great month for the digital asset space. All right, so that is the macro setup, and I am personally focused on. I don't trade the wiggles anymore, but instead the secular cycle and the longer business cycle. But I am annoyed. I missed the bond trade. So he missed that. All right. That was a gift. And I stopped myself pulling the trigger because of being scared from the last 2 times. The issue here is figuring out if this is a nearly done event or we have a short bounce and then a final leg lower. Short bounce, final leg lower. Not great. Maybe I need to make that move on going back in the stables after my little Bitcoin win, or retest of those lows. The situation in the Middle East might well dictate that. Yeah. It is too early to know, but I, for one, am looking to add to my crypto and tech over the next week or so. Not looking to get the exact bottom, but just to get prices for the macro summer and fall period that we have started, but got sideswiped by Japan. I personally think of this as a violent shakeout and a reset of risk-taking leverage. And that strong upside will be the feature of 2024 and 2025 overall. Thus, to me, this is the last time to get in or fully positioned. I luckily have income, so that allows me to add. Even though I am a max long, i.e., I just get maxer long. The banana zone slipped on a banana skin, but it's far from fatal, just some nasty bruising. I do think that this has all happened so fast that it will take time for a liquidity slant policy response. Now, I heard something, I don't know if you heard this, Jungle, but I heard that there was supposed to be, the Fed called for some kind of emergency something, that we're going to do an emergency something today. That's what I heard. That's what I saw on X. So they don't, it happens so fast that it will take time for a liquidity slant policy response. And we also know that every government and central bank wants a weaker dollar and lower rates. So they probably have a bias to let this stick for a bit before halting it. This is very, very true. By the way, they all work in tandem, which is what I'm going to respond to Black Swan Capitalists in that post. They all work in tandem. They don't work in silos. So nothing about them selling the treasuries is unexpected by the Fed and our treasury here. Nothing. Eventual Fed cuts will usher in a weaker dollar period too, which helps build macro summer fall. Okay, that's nice to know as well. So the Fed cut will help to usher in a weaker dollar also, in addition to all the other stuff, which is great. This is what we need. Right now, we are on the max fear zone. Hold on tight and have a plan that suits your risk tolerance and time horizon. Look, I've been just doing the DCA thing with Bitcoin. You know, got some at 64, 63, got some at 60, and now got some at 50. That's just my plan. Right now, we are on a max fear zone. Hold on tight and have a plan that suits your risk tolerance. And it's only my plan because I was overweighted. I was overweighted the wrong way. I was 90% altcoins. Well, yeah, 90% altcoins and 10% BTC. And I decided personally for us, we needed to shift that. So stay out there. Good things come to those who wait. Markets are never easy. And a bull market's job is to try to throw you off. Interesting. Interesting. A bull market's job is try to throw you off. All right, zoom out, relax. This too shall pass. This exact kind of mess is why the don't F this up thesis is so important. Remember, no leverage, no FOMO. Top 3 to 5 assets as the main bag. This is a hedge fund guy. He started a hedge fund for hedge funds. Hugely successful out there in traditional financial world. Echoes the same sentiments as Dan Tapiero, managing a multi-billion-dollar hedge fund currently. Anthony Scaramucci, hundreds of $1 million hedge fund. They say the same stuff. Are we going to listen to the thousandaires? Or are we going to listen to the millionaires? It's really up to you. Just really up to you. Top 3 to 5 assets as the main bags. Self-custody or multi-sig with the good wallet hygiene. Stop being scared. Stop rationalizing in your brain that there's a certain segment of society that's just not going to do it. Okay, it's a certain segment, but you can. This idea of being afraid to manage your stuff, what did they have before we had this stuff? How did you manage to do things before you just had a regular old wallet where you could put your money in? How do we survive? What are mass thefts and losses? Is self-custody technology going to get worse or better? Now that I shed light on the whole custodial thing, including Coinbase, are you really going to let them hold your stuff? When they're sloshing your stuff around in a pool of collateral and turns your stuff from digital assets into securities, like financial assets that they can lump in as collateral. Small degen bag, less than 10%. By the way, anything outside of the top main bag is the degen bag. So even if it's 15th, it's funny. Even if it's number 15 or number 20, it's in the degen bag. Isn't that interesting? So how to, over a long time horizon, zoom out and remove the noise. Expect 35% pullbacks frequently. Buy the freaking dip if you can. I did it. All right, this is interesting right here. He's got hashtag don't freak this up. You know what that means. Those of you mainly in alts outside the top 3, look at this. Those of you mainly in alts outside the top 3 are learning how risky they are. No one wants to say this. All the thousandaires with YouTube channels keep missing this message, and I was one of them. I was one of the people that got enamored by the 2017-2018 bull. And I want to say enamored to the point of addiction because of what happened in 2017, 2018, and forgot and lost first principles of investing, buying valuable assets and holding them. Valuable assets. The markets determine some stuff. We didn't say Bitcoin is Ethereum is the valuable assets. The market said that. We didn't say it. The market determined that. And I, for one, became enamored with the gains and massive gains 2017, 2018. But I promise you, if you're being honest with yourself, you'll recognize. If you're being honest with yourself. And don't get me wrong, I got the win in EGLD. I got a win in Matic. I got a win in VeChain. Massive wins. 5-figure and 6-figure percentage wins. But overall, if you went all in on something that wasn't the one, how are you doing? Bitcoin and Ethereum for the last, since 2013 or so, are averaging over 100% year-over-year return. And the enamored of the 5% or 6% matic twisted it, got us off track. Matic hasn't put out those returns ever since. EGLD has not put out those returns ever since. VeChain has not put out those returns ever since. So we're talking 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 years not getting those returns. That's the difference from the people who know how to create wealth and keep the wealth. That's why the hedge fund guys, these people are constantly saying Bitcoin is there. And the further down you go, because the further down you go, you risk losing what you gained. So anyway, those of you mainly in alts outside the top 3 are learning how risky they are. Think about that. I've tried hard to explain this. Crypto is risky enough as it is without your bags going down 80% in an early bull market correction. He's suggesting that this is the early bull market correction. What about the middle ones? And what about the latter ones? Later ones, I should say. Without your bags going down 80% in an early bull market correction. Yes, they can do well in an exponential rise, but only if you own the right tokens, which isn't easy, which is why we show you the banter bubbles every single day on the channel. We show you banter bubbles and how are the altcoins doing in comparison to Bitcoin. Jungle, we share this every day on our live stream. And it was a food for thought. It was a way of me telling you what Raoul Paul just said in the post. Why? Because I've been listening to Raoul Paul. I've been listening to Anthony Scaramucci. I've been listening to Dan Tapiero. I've been listening to Gary Cardone. I've been listening to people who established wealth, maintained the wealth before they got into crypto. What are they doing? What are they saying? How are they thinking? It's important. Or listen to the thousandaires who hope you up about the asset that you hold. So I share this all the time here, right? You got WIF outperforming Bitcoin in the big way. That's a meme coin. I don't know. Mark is saying what it is. Brett, it's another meme coin. 9,000% up versus Bitcoin. Dog with hat on Solana, 2,100% up. Bonk, almost 3,000% up. Meme coins. Well, you're fortunate enough to get into these. I believe that stuff that are currently outperforming Bitcoin will most likely continue to outperform Bitcoin. And now I'm not suggesting you get into any of these. And then there's Mantra. It's an OG in the space, by the way, in the Cosmos ecosystem, Jungle. 2,200% up versus Bitcoin. And then there are some nice, awesome 3-figure percentage tokens over Bitcoin, 100% or higher. Floki, 165%. I think this is a meme coin, but I'm not certain. It's a fundamental question to ask. I'm not saying to get into Bonk, a meme coin on Solana, Brett, a meme coin on Base, or WIF, a meme coin on Solana. I'm not suggesting that. What I am suggesting is Do you have something in your portfolio that is currently outperforming Bitcoin? And do you believe in the premise that if they're currently outperforming them in the early phases or stages of this bull run, do you think they have a shot to continue to do so? So, Floki, I think is a meme coin, 165%. Marinade Solana, just a staking platform, liquid staking platform on Solana, 226%. Jasmine, Internet of Things play, led by a bunch of Sony executives in Japan. This was my $1,000 play. It's at 181%. Jasmine coin. Ando, 147%. This is RWA play. We have some Ando. We shared Ando and Centrifuge and Goldfinch with you guys years ago. I hope you guys had a shot to get some of that. Then there's Fetch, which I believe is AI play, 121%. Then this regular Solana, we have some of that, 204% currently. Now, I might be wrong, but we're going to see, right? We're going to see if this is an accurate thing. Then we'll have record of it. We'll have record of early on outperformers, and it's not much, Jungle. It's not much. It's only like 11 of them out of tens of thousands. And what Raoul Paul is saying, and what I've been saying is, how are you going to pick them? He said it's not easy. How are you going to pick the one? So Solana 248%. Arweave. They kind of, is Arweave the one or Fetch? Fetch is the one that's now, it's like three of them combined into one. That's Fetch, 121%. Arweave, 103%. And I'm only showing 100% or more. Pepe, meme coin on Ethereum, 227%. And then we got Ton, the open network and Telegram, 138%. Not used to be three figures, used to be 100% or more, the gaming token on time, but it is no longer. Now, is anything wrong with a 50% better performance than Bitcoin or 70% better than Bitcoin? No, absolutely not. But did you get these 100% ones? And what are the chances that you're going to get it right the next go around? I mean, 11 or 12? Outperforming Bitcoin by 100% or more? Out of tens of thousands? And you're going to get that one? I'm going to get that one? I got it, Jasmine, but this was like 2, maybe 3 months at the most ago. Maybe 2 months. Solana, long time. Andu, long time. I got 2 meme coins. One was gifted to me for $1,000 worth at that time. And gifted, airdrop, because I airdrop farm, so I got it. And the other one, not doing well in the Avalanche ecosystem. But I feel blessed to have, you got to ask yourself, do you have these things? And do you think that premise is correct or not? But I feel blessed to have Jasmine and Ando and Solana and Marinade Solana. You know, a few is better than none, right? So, Raoul Paul, let's get back to Raoul Paul. Those of you mainly in alts outside the top 3 are learning how risky they are. I've tried hard to explain this. Crypto is risky enough as it is without your banks going down 80% in an early bull market correction. Yes, they can do well in an exponential rise, but only if you own the right tokens, which is not easy. Those are the facts. What Raoul Paul and his team is brilliant at doing is recognizing what is and adjusting accordingly, not recognizing what we want it to be, not trying to figure out why Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana have the year-over-year and Maker have the year-over-year returns that they have, not trying to figure out why. or to discredit it because you don't hold that one. But just understanding what it is and adjusting accordingly. That's it. If the technology mattered so much, why are the inferior technologies outperforming the better technologies? That's why I say all the time, you just want to have a pretty looking wallet. It's pretty. I mean, look, it's pretty. ZK Sync. I mean, look, it's pretty. Polygon ZK EVM. Awesome. DAG Constellation. Crazy stuff. Data Ownership Protocol. Crazy stuff. Mantle. Optimism. ZK Sync is going to be next level. Layer 0. Incredible messaging platform. All of those I just mentioned, not performing better than Bitcoin. I mean, the market is what it is, and we get a chance to adjust to it accordingly, is what I'm saying to you. I'm not telling you what to buy. I'm just saying the market is what it is, and we get a chance to adjust to it accordingly. And not only do we get to adjust, we get this information and access to this information, access to Dan Tapiero and Anthony Scaramucci and Raoul Paul. These dudes have never done this, made themselves available. Oh, no, it was only to their clients. Only. Dan Tapiero and Anthony Scaramucci subscribed to Raoul Paul's newsletter, Global Macro Investor. They go to him for information and tells and signals and alpha. But we got an XRP entertaining content creator, thousandaire, throwing shade on the dude that guys who manage multi-billions of dollars go to for information. Make that make sense. And unfortunately, we got people listening to this dude, this XRP entertaining content creator, and basing their decisions on him and what he thinks. He goes on to say, Raoul Paul goes on to say, not selling anything, looking for time and price to add and watching the spectacle. Getting this right can help you un-F your future. If you don't think this is a 6-month plus event, then use it as a gift. Try to filter out the noise from those with shorter term trading time horizons, as they are playing a different game. I'll do a video later today or tomorrow. Property Rich is in the building. Oh my God, my guy. It's been a minute since we seen you on the show. What's going on, brother? Property Rich says, hey, C's, it's been a little while. Although I got here, been very busy these days. I hear you, my friend. Hope you're doing great. Yes, I am XRP Magnificent. Are you talking about DAI? Yes, that's exactly who I'm talking about. That is exactly who I'm talking about. XRP Magnificent says we get hammered with so much rhetoric. It's difficult to not fall into that mindset. Yeah. And I had a revelation, XRP Magnificent. I said, what am I not doing right? And what am I doing wrong? Took some assessment. And I said, well, I took what my mentor used to say to me all the time as a youngster. Show me your numbers. I get it that you're smart. I know you're smart, Siege. I know you're smart. I know you know what you're doing. I know you've been in this space since late 2016, 2017. Show me your freaking portfolio. Show me the numbers. I don't want to hear about technology. Tell me how, if you're here to create wealth and generational wealth, show me the numbers. Because the numbers tell you the whole story of how well you're doing. I had to take an assessment. And then he said, well, tell me, who are you listening to? Who are you listening to? This is just something that he used to say all the time. You know, the thousandaires, I'm sure they're nice people. But is that what you're interested in doing? Getting thousands? So I remember this conversation, oddly enough. My mentor has long since passed, but I remember that conversation, oddly enough, not too long ago, about 4 months ago. And I just had to check, like, who am I listening to? I started listening to BTC Maxis. Started listening to the Pomplianos of the world and the Michael Saylors of the world, the Simon Dixes of the world, and just started listening to what are they saying? This is different than what I was previously listening to, right? Just previous to who I was previously listening to, just to see what are these BTC Maxis saying? Okay, awesome. Then I had to assess that. Like, you know, there can tend to be a little slant, a little bias. So who do I listen to next? And it just hit me. I need to listen to people who have done what I want to do. Establish a measure of wealth and maintain the wealth. Okay, what was that? Okay, all right, cool. And they did it outside of crypto, because then I'm not going to get the bias. The bias is, you know, as an XRP person, there's going to be are you going to argue that there's not going to be a bias? If your main bag is XRP, are you going to sit here and tell me, yeah, I don't have a bias? Are you going to do that? Of course not. So that's what I did. So I started listening to Dan Tapiero and Anthony Scaramucci. Thank God they made themselves available, because usually people like that don't. And quite honestly, I would throw in the Tika Tawari. Quite honestly, I mean, he's more of a salesman than all of them combined, but I would throw him in there as well. You know, amongst part of his subscription, his newsletter thing as well. Why? For a better perspective. And Gary Cardone was really kind of like the one who just flipped that script for me in here. I appreciated Raul Paul. I appreciated Dan Tapiero. I appreciated Anthony Scaramucci, for sure. And listen, the Dan Tapieros and the Mark Yuskos of the world, yes, but a little more bias, a little bit more bias. I needed someone 9-figure, tens of millions of dollars before, and net worth before it was crypto. It's Fred Krueger, Gary Cardone. Just listen to what they say. Listen to what they're doing. Listen to how they're thinking. What are they doing? For a different perspective. And it was aligning with Raul Paul and Scaramucci and Tapiero. It was aligning. They were saying the same thing. Now, you get a group of 6, 8 people saying the same thing that are accustomed to establishing wealth, keeping wealth, and helping their clients establish wealth. What are you going to do? Who are you going to choose to listen to? It's just, ultimately, it's not about having a pretty looking wallet. You know, wallet looks good, but it's nothing on the inside. It's not about that. There are people who would have you think that that's what it is about. That it's about just having the wallet look pretty. You know, while things are coming, while legislation is coming, while the flip of the switch is coming, while The Federal Reserve's demise is coming. How are you doing? Because the access to the stuff that is performing well and netting year-over-year returns of 50% or higher is out there, available. While you're trying to figure out which altcoin is going to do a thing. Can't we get better at portfolio management? Doesn't matter if you got $100. Can't you separate 90 from $10 and begin, like my guy Michael Marchese is doing, beginning a strategy? Of course you can. Anyone can. While we're waiting for hundreds of NDAs to be disclosed and partnership announcements. And I agree with you, Jungle. It's just interesting. I don't like the top three rhetoric. No, okay, I don't agree with you. I don't like the top three rhetoric. What was Solana just 6 months to a year ago? There is Bitcoin and ETH. Solana's not correct. Solana is not in that category. It's Bitcoin and ETH. Solana has netted. This is what I say, right? The Mag 7 is, for me, the Mag 7 crypto is right now is Bitcoin and Ethereum. Solana's not in the Mag 7. Solana is too young. It's 2020. But it has established a year-over-year return. And the year-over-year return doesn't happen by accident. There's a formula for it. There's a formula for it, how that happens. But the Mag 7, you got to be around for a bit. You know, 2020, this is they're barely 4 years, if 4 years. I don't know if they had their 4-year anniversary yet. Yes, not Mag 7. Raul Paul, who is it? It's Raul Paul and Chris Bernesky have gone to Solana, have gone Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana. Those are the only two. Only two. Everybody else is Bitcoin, Ethereum. Scaramucci, Bitcoin, Ethereum. Tapiero, Bitcoin, and Ethereum. Gary Cardone is Bitcoin only. Only. He's like, no, it's Bitcoin only. Right? So no one's going down the risk curve except for Bernesky, who's a VC dude, and Raul Paul. And Raul Paul goes by freaking charts. He's telling everybody else, don't do what I do. He's telling people, don't do what I do. He does the global trading. He's a trader. He won with Bitcoin. He topped it. He timed it right. But he's got access. He timed Ethereum right, got it right. But he's got access. And he based it upon charts that he has access to. You and I don't have access to that. It's going to cost a few thousand to get access to his charts. That's why he just looked at the charts. He said, okay, it's Bitcoin's right now. It's outperforming every single asset class, everything. I'm all in on Bitcoin. He 10X the Bitcoin and he's like, I'm done. He got out, took the profit. And then he said it went up another 10X and he had a massive disappointing lesson. I screwed it up. All right, I'm going to get to the charts. What's outperforming? Is Bitcoin still doing this thing or is there something outperforming Bitcoin? He discovered Ethereum. And because he's this big time trader, he topped the bottom. He found the bottom exactly and the freaking top. Both of them. He says he was lucky, but he still did it. So now he got it right with Bitcoin, sort of, with the 10X. He missed the 10X. He got Ethereum right. And he said, well, and won big time with Ethereum. And so he said, what is the thing that is, according to the charts, outperforming Ethereum? And it was Solana. And he got that. His average entry is less than $20. And he's been riding that. And he says there's going to be a layer 1 that's going to come into this game that's going to surprise most people. And that will be the new one. But that's him. That's how he trades. Because he's got that access. He lets his clients know. He lets the hedge funds of hedge funds know. And he lets the people that are part of Real Vision know. It's going to cost you a few $1,000s to find it out. But that's what he does. So no, Solana is not the Mag 7. But Solana, just like Maker, has produced a year-over return since its inception. I would argue that Maker is closer to a Mag 7. And I said this last night in the stream than Solana. Maker's been around for a minute. And it's netting year-over-year return 100% on a dollar cost average strategy, by the way. This is all based on, it's netting over 100%, which means you can dollar cost average into it because it's netting that return. The reason why these people are putting tens of millions of dollars, and it's just the beginning of Bitcoin, is because it's netting 40 to 50% year over year. And they're not getting that anywhere else. Ethereum is right around 100%. Solana is right around 250 to 300%. It's the numbers. It's not the rhetoric of Solana and meme coin. Solana went down. It's the numbers. How does Solana bypass XRP? Because of this number, the formula, network adoption. Attention creates a network adoption, creates active users and network adoption. You're going up the network adoption curve. The only way you can do that is create attention and get people using the stuff. People using the stuff. Everyone wants to point to meme coins to Solana. They don't talk about Drift Protocol. They don't talk about Marinade. They don't talk about Camino. They don't talk about Margin Fi. They don't talk about Devour Go. They don't talk about Hive Mapper, and they don't talk about Helium. All useful stuff on Solana. That is nowhere even close on the XRPL. That's why it went by the ledger. Not because of better technology, not because it moves anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny, because it's a formula for network adoption. Network adoption creates the demand for the asset. It's a formula. It's been established. It's been established. So I would put Maker ahead of Solana on the Mag 7 if we're going to get a Mag 7, Mag 10 in crypto. I would put Maker. All you got to do is look at the numbers. It's available. There's all kind of charts and stuff now. You can check it all out. You can do your homework. You can figure it out where it is. All kind of charts. I just use Into the Cryptoverse because I like the dollar cost average strategy. But you can figure out the year-over-year returns. You can you can figure it all out. What would have given you the better return from 2020 till today if you dollar cost average it? And what would that return be? You can put it in. It's free to do. And that's just one place to go for charts. You probably can figure it out in Dune Analytics. There's plenty of charts to figure it out. My point is it's available. Like it's known. And the big money has access to these charts. And one of the main things they're looking at is what's going to be the year-over-year return. If you got 25 million in Bitcoin, which I know someone who does, aren't you good with getting 50% on that money year over year? 50%? They already know that the asset class is outperforming all the other asset class. Second behind ain't even close, and that's the NASDAQ. And it's not even close. It's like 97% less. Now, how do I know that? Because I started listening to people who came into this space already wealthy and have established wealth. And they shared that information and they shared the charts. Can't be going around listening to thousandaires. They don't know. They don't know. Prime example, how could you possibly have a chance to buy Bitcoin in 2013 and turn it down? for principles that don't make money. Ideologies. Ideologies don't make money. It's a prime example. Property Rich says 20 likes, 22 people listening. Who are those that too haven't smashed the likes? $20 play. Oh, I could do that. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody can do a dollar cost average strategy. Anybody can do a dollar cost average strategy. It's the strategy that wins. Anybody could dollar cost average in the Bitcoin and Ethereum. Anybody. We got a Mag 7 in the traditional financial world. Is there anyone here that can suggest that there's an asset currently today that is a Mag 7 other than Bitcoin and Ethereum? And if you can, show me the numbers. Show me the numbers. If you can, I'm open to it. Maker, we show the numbers. Maker's in there. It's 100% right now from like 2024. It's not personal. It's the numbers. There's a reason why Maker's producing the numbers. We don't pick it, but there's a reason. Maybe it's their motto. Maybe there's their tokenomics. Why does it matter? If the numbers are the numbers, we just go with what the numbers are. Maker's not moving anything of value in 3 to 5 seconds for less than a penny. Are they? I mean, it's like we have to get out of our feelings and just check the numbers. Jungle says, I really like Maker. This is what makes ETH so great. Lots of people can have success. Tether makes billions. Maker makes billions. Coinbase makes 30 million a month with Base. Uni makes billions, which means that the underlying asset on the blockchain that they are on creates demand, is in demand. It's not our fault. We didn't pick Ethereum, the market did. The builders, the developers, the retail people, they picked it. We just have to plan accordingly. This is why I say all the time, people just want the wallet to look pretty. And they want to argue with why the wallet looks good on the outside. It's amazing to me. I did a video. I said I was wrong. I did a video, thumbnail. I was wrong. Why did I do that? Because I was wrong. You got a community watching, following you. You got to own up when you're wrong. Not blame it on the community. This dude is blaming it on the community. This DAI dude. Nah, bro, you had a shot to take $100 and put $50 in Bitcoin and $50 in XRP, and you chose not to. You can't own up and say that was a financial mishap. It was a misstep, and mistake. You can't do that. You want to put it on the community and say, well, the community came up with this idea of flip of the switch. The community came up with some false idea of Wind Moon. I didn't put any dates on it. With XRP, only one has been successful. I mean, are you going to face the truth? This Jungle says this. With XRP, only one has been successful. Are you going to be an adult, look at the situation, and accept the truth? That was gifted to them. They didn't have to do like Anados Finance or Vet or Moy Finance, those people, and go build something. They didn't have to do that. It was gifted. It is what it is. It was gifted. They didn't have to do their homework and do their due diligence. You understand? I mean, it is what it is. I'm not saying anything. I'm just saying that was gifted. You were not. You had to do homework and do research. You had to come out of your pocket with your dirty, nasty fiat, and they did not. Those are the facts. Those are the facts. And given that, what are you going to do about it? The only thing you can do is look at your personal portfolio numbers. You can't blame them. You can't change what happened. It happened. They were gifted it. What's your portfolio saying to you? How are you doing in the path or on the path of creating wealth and generational wealth for your family? That's what, and you don't have to answer to anyone but you. But do you know? Are you being honest with yourself? And the most important question is, who are you freaking listening to? And as we used to say in my marketing and sales days, do they have the fruit on the tree that you want? Are you here for sponsorships? Or are you here trying to create wealth and generational wealth for you and your family? Highly suggest that you pop your head outside of that XRP bubble and take a look around. It ain't about picking other coins. It's about gaining a different perspective. How are the people thinking? What are they thinking and what are they doing? How is this other group thinking? What are they thinking and what are they doing? You got to know your teachers, fam. You got to know your teachers. The Real Big World has some interesting points. He says, I've been listening in, Siege, as while no one is in the office. Nice. Due to weather here in probably Florida, I see both sides, UNDI. I ask myself, what happened in the .com timeframe that clears out the failed .com? So I went to ChatGPT and there are 6 factors: speculative investment, lack of sustainable business model, lack of a sustainable business model, market saturation and competition, economic factors, investor realization, and market correction. And last, survival of the fittest. This will be my focus. Also, I think this is what's coming to the digital asset space. Indeed. Indeed. That's why we have a Mag 7 in the traditional financial space. And we're going to have a Mag 7 to 10 in crypto. Who fits that bill? A sustainable business model. What is the makeup of a sustainable business model? Don't you got to have people on the blockchain and using the blockchain as part of that? Or is it just the technology? What kind of revenue is being generated? Maker has a business model for revenue. What's the revenue being generated? What's the model? What are the people using it? Not who we think is going to use it and they're going to bring billions of dollars. Who are using it? When regulations comes, then there's this thing that's going to come. If you've been in the space since 2017, which is most people, you had 7 years to create a year-over-year return on the assets that you have invested in. What does that look like for you? In other words, the assets that you bought and you held, what is that looking like to you or for you? Because you can't, you can't pop champagne bottles with what's going to happen. Yeah, Nick Black is a smart dude. Jungle. Nick Black talks about having a system and a thesis. You can track and test and make adjustments over time. That's called a strategy. And I think Raul Paul is right now, in terms of sharing and giving that information and those concepts, it's coming from realvision.com/crypto. It's free to join. Highly recommend it. He's got a YouTube channel. It's called Raul Paul, the Journeyman. Highly recommend you check it out. Mokeman's in the building. What's going on, my friend? Just bought more Flare, Songbird, and XRP. The real Big Will says, yes, sir, you do. Right? So you got to look at the numbers. Don't fake yourself out. That 11th commandment is thou shalt not fool thyself. Some of you guys got some explaining to do to the missus. Right? I had to. I had to, right? Right? I had to, explain Celsius. I had to explain XRP. I had to explain and say, this is what we're going to be doing now. We're changing our weighted portfolio around. Why? Well, because I'm listening to these guys here. Who are these dudes? With tens of millions and hundreds of millions of dollars of net worth before they got into crypto. What are they saying? Who are they? I had to explain that stuff. Because the portfolio is the portfolio, man. Right? So there that is. I just wanted to kind of share some food for thought with you guys because it's not going to be, and I hope that makes sense to you, because it's not going to be that many left of, these banana zone type runs. All right, let's cover some more stuff about this market. But by the way, that Bitcoin, just to let you know, that Bitcoin 40 to 50% return year over year, just to let you know, that's going to go on according to the power law. If you check that out, if you looked into it, if it made sense to you, for about another 20 years. You could put XRP into a chart and track on a dollar cost average strategy what that would have netted you from 2020, from 2022, from 2018, from the even numbers. And you'll know. Right? You'll know. I mean, the mags have essentially had higher highs and higher lows. You throw on that a year over year return, and I don't know, feels pretty good. Again, who can argue or fault you for doing like I did, becoming enamored and I would argue addicted to the 2017, 2018 kind of bull run numbers and thinking this is it. I mean, this is going to be the thing, the one. This is why I was weighted the other direction, 90% alts. Like he just said, like Rob Paul just said. And just having enough Ethereum and just having enough BTC so that I could say I had some BTC. Just having enough Ethereum to deal with the fees. Just an honest assessment. Simon Dixon says Japan's Nikkei 225 ends trading day down 12.5%. It's the worst single day result since Black Monday in 1987. Simon Dixon, this is a Bitcoin OG guy. He came from the investment banking space. When the dude told me or shared that he had hundreds of Bitcoin worth about 30 something million, that it was an insignificant less than 1% of his freaking Bitcoin holdings. I said, what the what? 30 million is an insignificant less than 1%? He has a business. It's Bank to the Future. Is it BTC Maxi? Sure. This guy has some pretty good stuff here. It says recession triggered. I didn't get to cover this yet. Let's the everything bubble pops as jobs collapse and the dreaded Psalm rule triggers. Benjamin Cohen, another guy I follow, who created the Into the Cryptoverse website, did a video about this triggering the other day. Japan's implosion is icing on the cake. Benjamin Cohen is a former altcoin maxi. Japan's implosion is icing on the cake. Morgan and Citi are now predicting a full point of rate cuts in the next 2 meetings. That qualifies as panic in central banking. Doesn't matter. It's all coordinated anyway, my humble opinion.
Official unemployment is almost recession triggered, reads the headline from Zero Hedge as jobs collapse, unemployment jumps, and the dreaded recessionary SAM rule triggers. The Fed seems to agree, with markets now predicting a half-point rate cut in September, and 2 of America's largest banks, JP Morgan and Citi, predicting another half-point cut at the following Fed meeting in November, just days after the election. A full point in 2 meetings qualifies as panic in central banking. And considering inflation is still in full swing and the Fed knows darn well that rate cuts make inflation go up, I would strongly suggest the Fed is battening down for a hurricane, whatever sweet nothings Jerome Powell is peddling these days to make sure the normies get blindsided. The dismal numbers come from Friday's job report, which alleges the U.S. added just 83,000 jobs last month, down from an alleged 206,000 the previous month. This is all alleged because aside from the revisions that come like clockwork, most jobs this year may actually be statistical illusion going by the household survey. Meanwhile, for a year now, we are seeing the new jobs are actually part-time gigs, while we lose almost the exact same number of full-time jobs. Plus, of course, the overwhelming majority of new jobs actually going to government workers, government welfare spending, and imported migrants. I mentioned in recent videos that native-born workers, which includes native-born immigrants, have had 0 job growth since June of 2018. In terms of composition, last month, government and social assistance continued their takeover of the U.S. economy, hogging nearly 2/3 of all new jobs. The rest of the economy that actually produces stuff, from manufacturing, construction to transport and services, is down to just 1/3. Tallying it up, official unemployment jumped to 4.3%, which is the highest since October of 2021, when Biden inflation was running wild. Note that if you include discouraged workers who've given up on a job, the so-called U6 rate, official unemployment is almost 8%, and it's up a half point on the month. Even controlling for layoffs for Hurricane Beryl, that's roughly 300,000 new unemployed on the month. Finally, the jobs number triggered the dreaded SAM rule, widely cited in financial markets to predict recessions. The rule triggers when average unemployment goes a half point above its one-year low, and it just triggered. So what's next? Brought to you by Unchained.com. Going by rate cuts, the Fed is clearly panicked. The question is how much? If Morgan and Citi are correct that we're in for a full point of cuts in 2 meetings, that is a proper panic, suggesting the Fed knows a big one is coming or it's already here. And as always, they're hiding it instead of giving regular Americans the heads up. Fortunately, most Americans think we're already in recession. No, recessions typically aren't announced until 9 to 12 months after they began. So at least those Americans will be able to protect themselves. Well, they can protect their portfolios, not their jobs. As for the rest who are still merrily drinking the Kool-Aid, millions will get wiped out. A new episode of the podcast just dropped, as well as an interview with Lena Zeicha.
Millions will get wiped out. So anyway, this is a little, and I'm not going to read much of this, but the dam is breaking. People in the UK are protesting. The lawn people are here. People in Britain are storming police guarding an immigration hotel. Remember, we have undeniable proof George Soros paid off these elected officials to flood America and Europe with illegals. The prime minister of Hungary, who is a dude they're still fighting, they're not trying to have it happen in their country, exposed a document proving George Soros is largely behind the global immigration invasion. And there's a video here on that as well. I'll link this if you guys want to check that out. Alarming what's going on. Reaper 76 says massive brokerage outages amid market crash just reported. Really? What do you think about that, Jungle? Brokerages. So you can't access your brokerages right now? Let's see here. I don't know if it's, are we talking about like a TD Ameritrade or, you know, or JP Morgan or like a Charles Schwab, that kind of stuff? XRP Magnificent says they're all offline. What? Oh, yeah. I wonder why they would be offline here. Let me see if I can log in. That's interesting. That is interesting, XRP Magnificent. Interesting. This is what a great taking would look like, by the way. This is what a great taking would look like. Can't get access to yourself because the great taking is an automated deal. It's an automation deal. I was able to log into my thing, so maybe there's some of the bigger ones or something. But this is what the great taking is going to be, an automated thing, just to let you know. Not so pretty in Japan, says Crypto Eddie. Nikkei lost 12%, logging its worst two-day decline in history. Crypto, however, many top 100 are off their lows, moving north again. Dow futures have slid. The Dow futures have slid 600 plus points. S&P, NASDAQ correction 2.8% and 4.9% respectively. All eyes are on the U.S. markets now. So we'll see how that goes. Let me know if you guys want to see a little into the cryptoverse chart. And I'll share that little DCA strategy. But yeah, I'm thinking that I am going to take my Bitcoin off of freaking Coinbase, which is showing a significantly different price of Bitcoin than Kraken. And since Coinbase uses the Lightning Network, I can remove it really pretty inexpensive. Property Rich says, why the hell would you want your money in a brokerage account? Yeah. Why would you? I have one stock there. Yep. Sold my stuff for gold and silver. Then I sold my gold and silver for crypto. Now, some people like the tech stocks. Some people like the NASDAQ plays. So they have a brokerage account. They like the Tesla stock play. They like the NVIDIA play. Some people like the Coinbase play. Some people like the Ripple play. But the fact of the matter is, if you can't hold it, I already found out how much it's going to cost me to get my stock certificate in hand. Over $100 to do it. But the fact is, if you can't hold it, you do not own it. That is the facts. It's a great question, Property Rich. He says, why the heck would you want to put your money in a brokerage account? Yep. Think about it. So there it is, fam. B says, expect retail being the next sector to nosedive. Yeah, so I got the BTC at 50,000, like 170 bucks, 130 bucks. It immediately shot up to 54,000. And it's still rising. And I was going to take that little profit, But when I went to Coinbase only showed it at 53. I'm like, come on, Coinbase. Come on, really? It's still showing. Let me refresh this. Coinbase is still showing BTC. Oh, no, it has it at 54.5 now. Okay. What does CoinGecko have it at? That's a little better. It was a lot off before. CoinGecko has it at 54.8. Let's see what Kraken has BTC at. This CoinGecko don't have to be right, They got to get data from somewhere. Right, Blair? They got to get their data from somewhere. Kraken's got to get the numbers right. Yeah, so, okay. So now Kraken has BTC at 54.450, which is roughly the same as Coinbase. 54.509. So they're roughly the same price, 450.509, roughly. I don't know what the 50,100 to 54.5 change is. I guess I could find out. Let's see. Let's go to the percentage change calculator and find out. Percentage change. I'm going to go 50,140. Okay, I don't want to do that. Privacy. To 54,500. %. Swing traders would be taking that right now. Swing traders would be taking that 8.6% right now. You best believe if they did get the 50,140 Bitcoin, like moi, they would be taking that 8.69%. Without question, they would be taking profit on that. Selling some BTC, taking it into dollars, they would take that 8%. I only bought $400 worth of BTC. So that's what, I don't know what 8% of $400 is. Is that $32? Swing traders, definitely. I should probably take it also. Now it's going to cost me just to sell. So there it is, fam. Into the cryptoverse.com. It's free to use to check your DCA strategy. It's free to use. Mag 7, currently, like Jungle says, is just 2, in my opinion. And in most people's opinion, it's Bitcoin and Ethereum. Not quite Solana, but Solana is netting you a year-over-year return. But you can do a DCA strategy. It's something to consider. Into the cryptoverse.com. Into INTO, the cryptoverse.com. Go to tools, mouse over tools, and you'll see DCA strategy. It's free to use. Cost you nada. Cost you nada, fam. All right, family. Thank you so much for hanging out. I'm going to hop off here. It's been a really, really cool hang. Do me a favor, hit that like button on the way in if you didn't do so on the way. Hit that like button on the way out if you didn't do so on the way in. That'd be super, super cool. It's the best way to get this channel out to more people. And if, by the way, you're happening to listen to and been watching the Crypto Seeds and you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please consider subscribing to the channel if you've been enjoying those hangouts. We're on a mad rush to 10,000 subs. We want to get there in record time. And we appreciate your help in getting there. I'm going to end this live stream like I do all my live streams and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.